Can you imagine? I was thinking about this the other day because everyone always wants player housing in WoW, right? And I always was like, don't get me wrong, I'd love to have a house in WoW, but it's never been like a major need for me because every time, I'll just be honest here, when I think of player housing, I think of Blizzard having another reason to rip us off by putting all the items in the shop. Like, yeah, if we ever get player housing, that's what they're gonna do. All these people wanting player housing. It's like, yeah, you're just costing us money over here because they're not gonna fucking just hand that shit out for free. Yeah, like, come on. Yeah. So that's my thought with player housing. So I'm kind of okay with the garrison. But can you imagine if we had the Disney house in Disney Dreamlight? Which I do stream once in a while, so you could catch this. But you get a house, and it's really easy to make money in that game, and you can buy floors to your house. You legit have a mansion. How many floors is in there? What, like 28 floors or something? And each floor has 4 rooms. So, like, it's crazy. Can you imagine if we had a house like that in WoW? Like, you never would, because their answer is always, oh, it takes resources to load shit, you know? That is probably why we don't have player housing. I bet you it would break the fucking game. I don't know, how does ESO do it? Because you play ESO, Arsenal. How did they do? Because do they have player housing? I never bought one. The only player housing type games I've played are solo player, right? Like you don't need to worry about resources really because there's no multiplayer, you know? Like yeah. And that would be, well, Animal Crossing, but I feel like, you know, it's kind of funny because they always, whenever I hear people talk about player housing in WoW, they use Animal Crossing as a reference, and I could understand that like 5 years ago or whatever, but the Animal Crossing house sucks compared to a lot of other games now. I'm just gonna say there's very little you can do with it. Like, yeah, you have your basement, you have your upstairs and all that, but that is the worst comparison you can make. You know, if it were me, I'd be comparing it to Disney Dreamlight. Like, that is one hell of a fucking house. There is, like, I don't think there's any house out there. I guess realistically, it probably would be maybe an Animal Crossing house because, like, resources, right? But what would you want? You would want the Disney one, 100%. And then, you know, and then storage. Storage is the only reason I would even want player housing. But I do believe they would sell the furniture in the shop. Just like every other game basically does. Well, minus Animal Crossing. But, you know, that's because they've never thought of having a shop, right? But most, you know, like Palia has a shop. Disney has a shop. Like, it would be for your real money for decorating that. And even if it wasn't, it would take away from what they could do with mounts and pets and transmogs. Like, if it wasn't in the shop, then that's gonna limit your other collection items because they'll be busy working on furniture, you know? Yeah, I just feel like people don't look at the big picture when they want that player housing. I will say, though, Disney is pricey. I'm just gonna say, like, as far as games that have a shop to it, oh fucking yeah. Disney, if you were like we are in WoW, where majority of players go after everything, you know how much that would cost you in Disney? $300 a month. 300. I've done the math. Yeah. They have their shop. It's only 4 items, but they're very pricey items, and it equals you know, it equals roughly $70 a week, give or take. Sometimes it's a little less, sometimes a little more, but, you know, it'll equal hundreds per month. That's why I'm picky with that shop. Like, I know exactly how I would do it if they ever did bring player housing to WoW. We would be in Ice Crown. 100%, that is where I would be. I'd be in the snowy area. Which I guess would be Storm Peaks. Yeah. Or would I go to the fucking beginning area? Dunmorrow, right? Maybe I'd go there. Yeah. What kind of house would I want? You know, I like the mansion in Disney, but I also like small houses. Like, I don't really care about mansions. But it is nice in Disney because I can make each room themed. But I think my go-to house would be like some sort of cottage type house. It is kind of funny though, because it's such a hot topic, but at the same time, people say they hate WoD. And what did WoD bring? The idea of player housing, what we thought was going to be player housing, and then extras. We had gardening and all these extra things. So it's kind of like people want what they hate, just in a different aspect, you know? I will agree that they could have done more with the garrison. I've always thought that, but I do like what the garrison brought. But I have a fully decked out garrison, so that might be why I think that way. You know, because I have like well, there's our jukebox there. We have pets that roam around here. On the other side of the building, I have the Black Market Auction House, which it's only view only, but I have my portables, so, you know, I can bid from the portables. And then over here's our auction house, regular auction house, and then over there is our bank, guild bank, and is there something else there? Transmog, maybe? Maybe. So yeah, like I say this as a person that has a decked out garrison, you know? I always forget the name of that game, that abbreviation. What is it again? You've told me and I always forget. Dark Age of Camelot, that's right. It's because I've never played it, right? So having an abbreviated, which I get why you abbreviate it. That is one hell of a game title. But yeah, I never did play it. I feel like it was probably around my Baldur's Gate playtime, because you said it's before this game, and yeah. So you think Dark Age of Camelot was like the first one to bring player housing then? I will agree, you know, it is kind of crazy how, like, other games can do it, but Blizzard can't. But I also believe that, you know, not to side with Blizzard or anything, but come on, they're the number one MMO and have been since it started. You know, like we're talking millions of people loading in their houses.